everybody, Lord Tremendous here. Got another battle report here for you. This is the Covington Challenge game. This is game 1 of 2. Father-son team came up from Baton Rouge to get some games in against me. They were up here for work, so it was cool. And called me out. They called me names. They hit my mother. It was crazy. And they were like, come on, dude, let's play it. I was like, but I've got stuff to do. And they were like, we'll punch your mother. And I was like, I'm bringing it. No, they didn't touch my mom. They were very cool. No, they were up here for work, and they asked me if I wanted to get some games in, and God knows I wanted to get some games in. So we hooked up, and we played a couple of games, and they were awesome. There were 5,000-point games. 'Twas I, Lord Tremendous of the Ogre Cons, versus Salazarov, T9A. He's got his own YouTube page where he does battle reports, 9th Age stuff. He's just starting off there. Really good. Like, really good. So check it out. His battle report for our game is already up, so you got the dual complexity there. Yeah, you got to check him out. It's, I mean, for somebody to just start off and be that good, I am ashamed. But go check him out, spelled exactly like that. He's on YouTube. He's got a handful of reports out, and they're really good. And he's a cool guy. He plays Empire, so check him out. He's really worth it. And get ready to see how this one goes. Real quick, before we get into the game, take a look at this model. It's a Rackham model. I don't know exactly what it's called, but I'm looking for it. I know somebody that wants it. I don't know if I should use his name or not because he didn't give me permission, but we're looking for it. We'd really like to find it. If you know anybody that has one that's willing to part with it, I'll pay reasonable. I'm not going to go into debt for this. I'll pay shipping, obviously. I'm willing to negotiate a trade. If you're looking for something, we can make that happen. But it's a Rackham model. They're out of print. They're not on eBay. And if anybody has one or knows somebody that has one or their local game store has one, if you could pick it up, I'll pay the difference and some extra for your trouble. But we're trying to find this model, and any help would be much appreciated. Contact me. My email's in the description, and you'll be a hero. And who doesn't want to be a hero? Thanks, guys. Here's my list, and it has not changed from the last one. I wanted to give it a fair shake, so I'm playing a few games with it. I play both of my games with the same list for the Covington Challenge, but it'll change after that one. Anyway, I have my Khan, Blackshade. He's my general. He's got a great weapon, Iron Fist, Ogre Crossbow, Bluffer's Helm, Talisman of Shielding, and Horde Master. I, of course, and will always have my Khan. He's my BSB. He's got an Ogre Crossbow, Heart Ripper, Yeti Furs, and the Troll Eater Big Name. I have my Shaman Skaz. He has 4 learned spells. He's got the Talisman of Greater Shielding, and he uses the Path of Pyromancy. And then, of course, I have my Mammoth Hunter, Lord Tremendous. He's got his Ogre Crossbow, the Obsidian Blade, the Armor of Fortune, Head Under Big Name, and he's on his trusty Tusker, the War Teddy. Oh, yeah. My core choices are as follows. I have a unit of 7 Tribesmen, the good old boys, with Banner, Musician, Iron Fist, and a Banner of Discipline. I have a second unit of 7 Tribesmen, the Conquerors, with Banner, Musician, and Iron Fists. Then I have 2 units of 15 Scraplings, the Randos with Musician and Bows, and the unnamed unit also with Musician and Bows. For my special choices, I have my Saber-Toothed Tiger, Bow Wowzer. I have 6 Scrapling Trappers, the Favored Pets. And I have my 4, count 'em 4, Tusker Cavalry, the Fat and the Furious. They've got a banner, great weapons, and the War Standard. They're terrifying. In the powder keg category, I got 3 Bombardiers, 1 whistles a tune as a musician. And in the chain beast category, weighing in at over 5 million pounds, my Rock Warghammer. The rider with lance on top of him is none other than Shyhammer. And together they are the Hammer Brothers, twin hammers, the hammerers. Basically, they're the blunt object that just wrecks face. I love this. Yeah, sorry. It's a cool monster. Then the true hero of my army, my Frost Mammoth, Rufus. Couple of ogre crossbows are toted around on his back, but he's the star of the show. Love this model. Anyway, that's going to do it for my list. I'm going to post my opponent's list, play some music. Feel free to pause it whenever you'd like to see what he took. Here are my spells, which are exactly what you're looking at. And here are my opponent's spells, which are also exactly what you're looking at. Here's deployment, and my opponent actually set up first. He won the roll, so he's going first, and he threw down all of his stuff. It's been a little while since I faced Empire Sonstal, so I know they're tough 3 for the most part. And I know they've got orders and crazy bounce spells and stuff. So I know it's not going to be a cakewalk. I've never faced this individual before, so I don't know his style or anything like that. So I just went with the quick and dirty. I threw both units of scraplings on the left flank in the forest there to shoot up anything that tried to come down. I figured 30 shots should be a decent amount of damage to put down range. But everything I had other than that was center and right flank, because that's where my opponent set up. That's where most of his infantry was. I toyed with the idea of, just since he deployed heavy on our right flank there, to deploy heavier on the left flank and just let that stuff do what it's going to do and try to meet it. But with the impassable terrain on the left side, I figured I would just traffic jam. Plus, I mean, they drove 4+ hours to come out. You know, I know they're here for work, but you wanted a fight, so I wanted to give him a fight. So I set up pretty much right across from him, because I play ogres. We're not elfing this around or anything like that. We're going to kick ass, take names, and that's what we're here to do. So I set up Bow Wowzer, the Rock, and the Conquerors with Lord Tremendous right in the middle there to try to deal with his Sun Griffins, his tank, and all the other stuff in the middle. And then Rufus, the good old boys, the Bombardiers, and the Fat and the Furious are on the right side there. And they're just going to try to take it to all the infantry across there. Basically, targets of opportunity. I'm even willing to use the Bombardiers as chaff if required. So that's pretty much it for deployment. Here's top 1 after movement, and like I said, he got to go first, and he kind of like sidekicks out. The most aggressive move he makes is on the left flank with his riders going after the scraplings in the forest. It's smart. He's going to try to panic them across each other and wipe out the whole left flank. I honestly didn't see that coming. I should have. It was stupid, but yeah, I realized that at this point what he was trying to do, and I'm like, this might work. So anyway, the rest of his stuff just kind of gets into position. He's got his militia in front of stuff to kind of work his chaff and redirect. It's an odd angle, but I get what he's trying to do. His steam tank stays still. I can't remember if that's because he just wanted it there or what, but he uses it more like a cannon than anything else. But other than that, everything else just kind of comes up to look at the choke points and the pass to go through the terrain. And really, that's it for movement. During the magic phase, he gets Pyroclastic Flow off on my tribesman and gets 5 flippin' wounds through. It's going to be one of those games. Then with the lore attribute Fireball spell, he smokes one of my trappers, which is really, really smart. He gets an immolation off on just behind the trappers because he's trying to force a panic check and have them run through it. Also very smart, well placed. But he only threw 2 dice at that spell, yet they were boxcars. So he ends up getting the spell off with a miscast 8. Not a huge big deal. Nothing really happens to his unit whatsoever. I think a few models die, 2 or 3 models die, and that's it. But an immolation for a handful of models, I think that's a pretty fair trade. Now for the shooting phase, or as I like to call it, the Empire's second magic phase. The guys on the hill fire the trappers and are able to kill one, and I'm lucky it was only one. That was a lot of shots. Over here, his cannon decides to take a pot shot at Rufus and puts a couple wounds on him, which sucks. But, I mean, it's a smart thing to shoot at. Kind of knew it was coming. And then I take another shot to Rufus, and they get another wound through on him. So he's half dead currently. Not looking like Rufus is going to do much this game. And then, not to be outdone, the riders over here take aim at the scraplings in the forest and drop 2 of them. It's a lot of shots. I'm surprised they only got 2. His turn finally over. Here's bottom of 1, if you can believe it, after movement. And I come forward and I kind of do the surrounding thing. I bring Bow Wowzer up so that the Sun Griffins can't charge my Rock in the flank. But other than that, I put a lot of pressure on him really, really fast. I'm proud of this, actually. I wish I had brought my Tusker Cav up a little bit, but I was afraid of him getting a long-distance charge on him. I'd rather charge with the Tusker Cav than be charged. A lot of their strength is in those impact hits. So I have my stuff up there. I'm thinking, depending on how he moves next turn, the Tusker Cav can hit one of those... what's it called? One of those militia units that he's using as redirectors, and possibly, since they're just so long, overrun and slam into one of those bricks. If I could hit that brick in the flank right in the middle there up top, that would be glorious. But we'll see what happens. I bring everybody up and get ready to do some shooting, and that's really it for movement. There's nothing really more to it than that. During the magic phase, I get the big spell off, and I'm able to put some hurt on the Empire units. Not a ton. I wasn't really rolling that well. You know, bottom of 1, dice are cold. What can you do? But the militia units take 2 to 3 wounds each. The big unit in the middle, I think, takes 1. It looks like I do a little bit of damage to the unit in the forest. It's not a ton of damage, but every little bit counts, you know? Then I'm lucky enough to get enveloping embers off on the big unit. I do a point of damage to his prelate that's in there, I believe. I get a wound through there. And I'm able to eviscerate 6 of the Imperial Guard, which is excellent. I'm actually a little afraid of those guys. I don't know if you remember my reports with Cannon of Doom, but yeah, that unit will eat my lunch. So the more that die now is the less I have to deal with later. With the lore attribute spell, Fireball, I'm able to take out 2 more militia on that closer unit, which is great. That's going to push the panic test on him. During the shooting phase, Rufus fires a bolt fires 2 bolts into that unit on the left there. The the heavy infantry, the swordsmen. And I think I skewer 2 or 3 of them, which is not good. I misspoke. He took 5 wounds from cannon fire last turn, but it's not terrible. And you know, any death is a little bit of revenge. I'll take what revenge I can get. The Bombardiers fire away at the militia on the right side there, and I think they take out 2, leaving the front rank there. That'll push the panic check on them. I believe they pass it. And then the Scraplings, the unnamed unit, fire away at the Riders and are able to drop 2 of them, which is absolutely glorious. It caused the panic check, but they pass. So I'm probably going to have to deal with them next turn. With no combat, we go over here to top of 2 after movement, and my opponent I can tell he's nervous just as much as I am, which is good. I believe he made a little bit of a mistake here because he takes his militia and puts them forward where my Tusker Cav can hit them no problem, and then overrun into the big unit of swordsmen, I believe is what those are. I believe the Imperial Guard are in the center. But yes, he kind of screens a little bit there. On the middle there, if you see, my Rock has a flank charge on his BSB's unit, or whatever unit that is, the second swordsman unit. It might not be a BSB in there. My opponent, I don't know if he saw that or not, so I got real excited when I saw that. On the left flank there, the Sun Griffin guys go after Bow Wowzer, because what other choice do they have? And I'm fine with that. It puts them out of combat, out of the game really, until turn 4. And on the bottom left there, the Riders charged into the Scraplings. And I'm not terribly concerned about that. The Scraplings are going to hold, or they're not, whatever happens. But maybe I can take 1 or 2 down, because they're only toughness 3. There's a chance. And that's really it for movement. There's a better picture of the rider slamming into the scraplings, and that's going to be, I mean, he's got this fight hands down, but there's a chance I could drop another one of these guys, and that'd be great. And there's a better picture of the Sun Griffins charging the Bow Wowser. And if you're wondering why he's not maximized, it's because he couldn't. You just closed the door. The impassable terrain stopped him from being able to maximize. And you don't shift your guys over to maximize there like when you're being charged. So that's the best we could do, and that's why it's lined up like that. During the magic phase, he gives these guys up here on the hill, his handgunners, basically flaming sword. Well, it is not basically, it's flaming swords. Basically makes it easier for them to wound. I tried to stop this damn spell, and I couldn't. The attribute fireball spell plinks 2 more of my trappers, which again is pretty smart. And then we go into shooting. Needless to say, all of his attacks are going after the Rock. I believe his cannon fires at the Rock. One of them, either the steam tank or the cannon fires at the Rock and slips a single wound through on him. It must have been a steam tank because his cannon fires at him and misfires 1. So that cannon's pretty much useless for the rest of the game, and that's outstanding. Over here, I'm not sure what shoots at Rufus. I think, honestly, it was his organ gun, possibly. Or maybe just the guys on top of the hill. But whoever shoots, they're able to slip the last wound through on Rufus and kill him, which breaks my heart. I knew it was coming. He took too much damage in the first turn, but that still sucks. Poor Rufus. And then we go into combat, and these bastards kill Bow Wowser. However, good old doggy that he is, he's able to slip a wound through on him before he goes down. Such a good boy. They turn the face like this because he wants to get into my Rock, but if everything works the way I'm hoping it does, my Rock won't be anywhere near there come the beginning of my next turn. Combat over here, I lose 2 scraplings, and I'm able to kill one of his riders. So he has charge and 2 wounds to 1 wound and I think maybe a rank. So I lose by 1, but these guys they're not steadfast because they're in the forest. More than half of them are in the forest, so they're disrupted. They lose by 1, but they're only leadership 5 or 6. I don't roll it. They break and they get run down. However, the dangerous terrain checks the riders take for charging, because this is a forest, those in the field, it doesn't matter either way. They take dangerous terrain checks and he fails 2 of them. Fails them both. And, well, I'm sorry, he fails 1, which causes the panic check. He fails that. They flee, he fails that panic check, and they're dead. So, dangerous terrains, take out the rioters, but the combat took out my scraplings, and my other unit of scraplings, the randos, they broke from a unit breaking combat within 6 inches and fled and ended up right where you see them. So, really crazy way to end our first combat, but really funny. Both units that were in the combat are dead and gone. What an interesting combat. With that, we go over here to bottom of 2 after movement, and I make my move. And what a glorious move it is. So I get greedy. I send both the good old boys and the Tusker Cav into the militia, and they stay. I kind of expected them to flee, and they didn't. That's why I sent the good old boys in first. I figured he would flee, and I wanted them to flee to the right. And he didn't. He stood. So I was like, all right, he's going to flee when I charge with Tusker Cav. And he didn't. He stood. So I was like, interesting. So this is where we end up. Both units make it into the militia. And what I'm hoping is both units make it into the swordsman next turn. And I know his little supporting unit's going to countercharge. But whatever. They'll be in the front of my Tusker Cav, and they'll eat them alive. It's just going to be extra combat res. So I'm looking forward to that. Meanwhile, the bombardiers move up. I did lose a couple of good old boys to the damn immolation. I didn't think I was going to take that many wounds. You know, he needed 4s to wound me, and oh my god, I took a ton. So 2 tribesmen end up dying from that. Just murdered my face. But the real big deal on this one is the Rock. The Rock charged that unit of swordsmen that were in the middle there. And they failed their terror check and fled, right? They had to. So there was nothing else for me to redirect into, so I was like, well, I'll try to catch him. So he rolls like a 5 to a 7 somewhere in there and ends up pretty much where the Rock is, because I roll boxcars and hit him. I caught the unit, destroyed him. All the panic checks are passed because the BSB is right there, but my Rock, while it's great he caught the unit, is now in the worst possible position for him to be in. There's a steam tank there, there's an organ gun, there's a ton of shooting, and he's like right on top of him. So if they don't kill him next turn, great, but they're going to be able to kill him next turn. It sucks. So the Conquerors move up. I don't want to get charged by the Imperial Guard. I still want to try to lessen that unit while I can. Lord Tremendous turns to deal with the Sun Griffins. The Scraplings rally on their own leadership, which is amazing. And that's it for movement. There's a bit of picture of the good old boys and the Fat and the Furious slamming into the militia. And like I said, the hope there is both units destroy these guys, which they will with impact hits, overrun into the swordsmen, and then just clear the right flank. They should be able to do that. There's a better picture of the Rock making his charge, which was incredible. Just wish he didn't end up where he was, you know? There's where he ends up. And as you can see, I mean, it looks great. I rolled 2 6s and a 4. I catch the unit, destroy them. They all pass their panic checks, which sucks. But the problem is I'm right in front of all of his guns now. It's a really bad position to be in. He's only got 5 wounds left. The little gunner guys are going to unload on him. The organ gun's going to unload on him. The engineer guy's going to unload on him. It's a really bad place to be in. I'm not looking forward to his next turn. During the magic phase, I get a salvo off again, which is nice. Only, once again, it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. I did forget that the other militia, they were charged by the Conquerors and they fled, so they ended up right over there. But the salvo ends up doing, I think, a point of damage to his engine. Maybe a couple of models die from the big swordsman unit. Another Imperial Guard dies. It's really weak. I'm not rolling that great. On the right side there, I think 2 or 3 of the supporting unit die. It's really not impressive. But, hey, I'll take what I can get. Unfortunately, Skaz has to do his obligatory miscast and ends up miscasting 8 in order to get that mostly inefficient spell. It's not the spell's fault, it's my fault. I didn't roll high enough. But yeah, I end up miscasting 8 on 4 dice. The result of which is Skaz ends up taking a single wound, which, you know, I kind of earned. Oh well. And then just kind of like as a prep for next round, I get Enveloping Embers off on the good old boys. Actually, I think I get it off on the like on the 6-inch range. So the Bombardiers, the good old boys, and the Tusker Cav have it. So again, I'm just thinking the more damage I can put on this infantry I'm going to be seeing next turn, the better. We go into combat, and stunningly, the impact hits alone are able to finish off the militia, which is satisfying. I won't lie, I enjoyed it. And then the worst possible thing happens. A sure thing turns into a massacre. The good old boys overrun and slam into the big brick of swordsmen, right? The Tusker Cav, of all things, the Tusker Cav, I rolled 2 1s and a 2, or 3 1s or something, and they end up going forward like 2 or 3 inches, nowhere near what they needed in order to hit that fucking unit of swordsmen. So my opponent, very smartly, declares a countercharge, because it's totally legal, and slams into the flank of the good old boys. They're screwed now. They're screwed because the Fat and the Furious forgot the Furious part. Oh, I was so mad. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So, yeah, I gotta deal with this now. Unbelievable. And that brings us over to the top of 3, or as I like to call it, the turning point. Anyway, so yeah, his stuff moves over, his engine moves over to boost all of his stuff. He doesn't charge it in because that would have been a mistake. The Swordmaster unit on that's not, or that's left over there, that's not in combat, starts moving close. I mean, actually, that might be the Imperial Guard. I thought they were going to go into the good old boys, but to be honest with you, the unit doesn't need any help. They're going to eat them alive. So the Imperial Guard start moving towards the Conquerors. I think they charged them actually, and I think I fled. I'm almost positive that I fled, which makes me feel pretty stupid. Maybe there was something there that caused terror. Something happened there where I fled, and I think it was against my will. I wish I could remember what it was. But yeah, I fled from the Infernal Guard one way or the other, and that's not good. But anyway, that's what I did. So I end up right there. I get away. Lord Tremendous is looking at the Sun Griffins that are coming around, and other than that, it's just it's not good. There's been a picture of the Conquerors fleeing from the Imperial Guard, and I think the Sun Griffins tried to charge Lord Tremendous and failed. But that's probably for the best either way. I do remember fleeing the Conquerors from the Imperial Guard. I wasn't ready for them. They've got that little they got an order on them. I wasn't feeling confident in a magic phase. I didn't believe in the heart of the unit, and maybe I should have stayed, maybe not. I don't know. I just didn't feel like it was a good time. During the magic phase, he gets a bunch of spells off. I stopped some, but he was just pulling my dispel dice so he could get off his blessings or whatever they're called, his prayers, the guiding light one, the 4-up ward or whatever it is. Just painful, painful, painful. He gets Pyroclastic Flow off on the Bombardiers, killing one solid, which always sucks. And then with the lore attribute Fireball, he puts 2 more wounds on him because things are starting to go my way. And then he gets Cascading Fire off on the big unit of Swordsmen. At this point, I know I'm screwed. I mean, it was pretty obvious from the beginning, but man, everything this turn is going his way, and there's nothing I can do. The Fireball he gets from getting that other spell off finishes off another Bombardier, because why not? And then in the shooting phase, his steam tank fires at Lord Tremendous and puts a wound on him. It was a hell of a shot. Like, he's not missing with his war machines. All of his spells are going off. It's really hard to recover. He's really turned up the pressure on me. It was that fail charge. The Tusker Cav said it. Once they failed their overrun, everything just started going left field for me and right field for my opponent. What can you do? Over here, just to keep going with the good times for the Empire, his organ gun or volley gun opens up on my Rock and puts 4 flippin' wounds. He needs 5s to fucking wound. And he puts 4 on him. 4! Jesus. I mean, there's nothing you can do. It's dude is rolling. Excellent. He's doing everything like he's supposed to, and it's working out for him. I mean, wow. And then the guys on the hill open up and finish him off. There's nothing I can do. It was too many shots. It was a terrible position. Nothing had to move. It was close range. It was like giving the points away. It's not what I wanted to do. I thought, cool. But when he caught that unit, I was like, oh, damn. It seemed like such a good thing at first, but I mean, maybe I made his points back. I don't know how much that unit cost, but damn, it just doesn't seem like it was worth it. And then something, I don't remember what, possibly his Artificer on a hill, something shoots at the Tusker Cav and slips a wound through on him. Just coup de grace. We go into combat, and it's embarrassing. He kills 3 tribesmen. I kill 4 flippin' infantry. That's it. I think I kill one of his characters that's in there. I think there's a character in there, and I end up in a challenge with Black Shades. He's able to kill him, no problem. But 3 infantry are all I'm able to kill because all that gets to attack is my 1 tribesman. Can you effing believe it? Now I know his unit's all buffed up because he kicked my ass in a magic phase. I'm very well aware that he's got a zillion attacks to my 4, but it just pisses me off when my tribesmen do this poorly. But that's not all, so I auto-break because that unit was screwed. The Tusker Cav fail their panic check. And as you can see, those thrice fucking idiots flee off the table. It went from a sure thing right flank sweep to a complete rout, and now I'm screwed. I'm so angry at this point at my units and my failings that I can't even see straight. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not taking on my opponent or anything. I'm not mad at him. He's playing beautifully. But I'm so mad at my tribesmen and my Tusker Cav. All I can think is, how much trouble would I get in with the wife if I were to burn those fucking models right now? The answer, in case you're wondering, is too much, so I don't do it. But yeah, it's like, you gotta be kidding! But no, just God bless it. Oh, so that brings us over to bottom of 3, and I'm trying desperately to salvage anything that I can. Lord Tremendous charges the Griffins, who flee and get away, putting me in a horrible position, but that's what I get for playing with my head up my ass. My Conquerors rally and turn to face the Imperial Guard. The Trappers rally because the BSB rallied, so that was awesome. Not because he was using their leadership, but because I got the reroll. And Skaz is able to march. He passes check, and he marches to the flank of the supporting unit, just getting outside their arc. I measured that real close to make sure, and we were really good. So, yeah, just inside his 12-inch movement, but he made it. And that's it, because everything else I have is dead, because I played like ass, and my opponent played like an expert, like a fucking champion, and I'm pissed off at myself. Yes, the wine meter is in the red, damn it. That's it for movement. There's been a picture of Lord Tremendous running off the Sun Griffins, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't think they ever rally. I think he rolls high and they run off the table in a turn or so. During the magic phase, all I get off is the salvo, the 24-inch everyone burns, and I do a handful of wounds. The supporting unit takes 3 or 4. The B unit takes like 1. The Imperial Guard take 2 or 3, which is good. And I think I'm even able to put one on the engine. Not great at all, but better than nothing, I guess. And since there's nothing else that my stupid ass can do, here's top of 4 after movement. Like I said, the Sun Griffins keep on fleeing. The steam tank moves up. The gunners move over. Everything's just trying to kill what's left on the table. The Imperial Guard move up. I don't think they tried to charge me. They may have. I think maybe they tried to charge me again, and I stood and shot. I missed, but so did they. The big unit of swordsmen comes swinging around on my right flank there to flank the Conquerors, which is smart. And something tried to charge the Bombardiers, and it fled. I don't remember what it was, though. Maybe it was a character. I can't remember. But he ends up behind the Conquerors somehow. Yeah, I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. So that's where everything is. The supporting unit fails its march check because of Skaz, so it only moves up a little bit. And like I said, everything else pretty much just positions itself to shoot magic or beat the hell out of what little I have left on the table. That's it for movement. There's a better picture of the swordsman. I guess the swordsman tried to charge my bombardier, but how they ended up at that angle is beyond me. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. But anyway, that's where it ends up. During the magic phase, he gets immolation off again in front of the Conquerors. There's just, I don't care. I figure I'm going to take damage anyway. I got to get into these Imperial Guard and try to do as much damage as I can. While I can, but he gets the spell off. The resulting fireball puts a wound on the bombardier that's fleeing, and at this point, I'm rooting for my opponent. Then he gets cascading fire off on the Imperial Guard because I can't stop anything. Not only as my tactics turn on me, but my dice have as well. Attributed fireball puts yet another wound on the bombardier. Good for my opponent, bad for me. And then he gets another spell off that I think gives him a 5-up ward save in close combat, which means now I don't want to charge that unit. It's too powerful. It does too much damage. I got to take too much damn damage in order to get into combat with it. So I don't want to charge him. I should probably, but I think it would just be a death sentence. So yeah, he's done a really good job at deterring me, and he's done a really good job this whole game. So I don't know why I'm surprised about this. No combat, nothing happened in shooting. We go to bottom of 4, and I just back up. My Conquerors back up so that they don't get flanked by either of these units, because, come on, we all know he's going to make it. Lord Tremendous tries to move over to get into... I should have marched him over, but like a moron, I only move him 8 inches so I can shoot. I don't know why I keep doing that. I need to stop doing that. The Bombardier does not rally, so he continues to flee. The Scraplings kind of turn to face. They're not going to be able to shoot anything, but oh well. And Skaz stays right where he's at for the most part. I think he comes forward just a little bit because he's trying to keep everything either long range or out of range. Yet I still want to take out that, that little support unit, because I need points really, really bad. I'm not out yet, but I'm beat to hell. And that's it. Nothing else happens during my turn. My magic phase, I roll like a 3, and he channels. So I throw my dice at one spell, he dispels it. There's nothing I can do about that. My shooting is either my Scraplings, my idiot Lord Tremendous, or my fleeing Bombardier. My BSB shoots, but I'm sure he missed. So here we are in top of 5 after movement. And yeah, Yeah. So the Imperial Guard slam into the Conquerors. The Swordsmen slam into the Conquerors. The Imperial Guard do take some damage from immolation, so that's good. The supporting unit comes around. That little character on foot, I think, is his general, to be honest with you, and he comes over to try to deal with Skaz, and at this point, I'm like, whatever. The steam tank stays where it's at. The handgunners move up to try to deal with Skaz. The engine moves up. It's out of range, but it's going to be in range next turn, so he can buff all of his units up there, the infantry. And that's really it for movement. Oh, yeah, and the Sun Griffins flee off the table, which is awesome. There's been a picture of the Imperial Guard and the Swordsman units slamming into the Conquerors. This is going to be a short and sweet fight the way I see it, but they did take a little bit of damage from the immolation when they went in, so there is that. But this is not looking good for the home team. During the magic phase, he gets cascading fire off on the Imperial Guard again. There's really nothing I can do about that. What else happens in the magic phase, which gives me a little bit of hope? We go into shooting, and his steam tank misfires when he shoots his cannon at my bombardier. Takes a point of damage for his trouble, which really isn't a big deal, but I'm just thrilled to see something not go his way. I'm a bad person. During the shooting phase as well, the handgunners lob a whole bunch of shots into Skaz, putting 2 on him, which is... I'm just surprised Skaz isn't dead, to be honest with you. We go into combat, and God bless them, the Conquerors hold their own. His wizard, I think it is, or something has that item of identity theft where you swap a bunch of stats. So my Khan, he ends up in a challenge with him, but I've got the Heart Ripper. So it's like, okay, you take my stats, I take yours. I'm able to save some of mine. He obviously takes 2 wounds, but I think he kills whoever he's in combat with, which is awesome. So I think his wizard is dead. Meanwhile, those units are only able to kill a couple of my tribesmen, and in return, I'm able to take out 5 swordsmen and 4 Imperial Guard, which is huge. I don't think I win this combat. I think I lose by 1, but we stick, and we're ready for the next round of combat. It's like, ooh, I should have sent the good old boys in a long time ago, but I'm stupid and shit happens. With that over, we go over here to bottom of 5 after movement, and Lord Tremendous comes slamming into the Swordmasters. It's all I got. The Bombardier, I don't remember if he rallies. It does not look like it, but he didn't flee off the table. Skaz on the right side, I'm like, what do I got to lose? Skaz is charging to General. I figure if I can kill this little bastard, because I don't know what he's got, but I figure if I can kill him, I can get a lot of points, at least 200, and I could use them. So I charge Skaz in, and I'm hoping with impact hits, I'm able to do at least 2 wounds, maybe if I'm lucky. I don't know what he's got, but at this point I got nothing to lose, so I'm going to go for it. The Scraplings move up a little bit more to start shooting at stuff, and that's it for movement. There's a better picture of Lord Tremendous joining the fight, which will be good. And there's a picture of Skaz desperately trying to be a warrior, which he's got a chance. He definitely has the size advantage. Nothing happens in magic shooting. We go straight into combat, and it is brutal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 deaths for their side. My BSB takes another wound. I take 5 wounds at a tribesman. Lord Tremendous is fine with charge, banner, BSB to his stuff. I think I win this combat, but his units are good. I think his Imperial Guard has bodyguard, and he's still got a character in there, and the swordsman unit is steadfast, so no one's going anywhere, but this is starting to turn to my favor. About flippin' time. Too little too late, but about flippin' time. And then over here, Skaz throws me for a loop. Not only did he make his charge, not only is he in combat with a general that's kind of kitted up for defense more than offense, but he's able to get 2 wounds through on this bad boy and takes nothing in return. Charge and 2 wounds, I win by 3. He's able to make his break check no problem, but holy crap, Skaz could do it. Skaz could kill his general. We go over here to top of 6 after movement, and there's a little bit, but nothing too over the top. Basically, his supporting unit comes over to try to help out. His engine comes over to try to buff. His handgunners move up because they got nowhere else to go, and his steam tank stays still. That is it for movement. During the magic phase, I believe he gets a spell off that allows him to reroll failed to hits on his Imperial Guard unit, which isn't great, but I'd rather have him reroll that one as opposed to wounds. And then he gets Know Thy Enemy off on the other unit there, the Swordsman unit, and I'm not too upset about that because it's just +2 weapon skill, +2 initiative. Pretty sure he was already attacking before me, and I think I might need 4s to hit him before. I'm going to need 4s to hit him. It really didn't bother me at all. I think this spell might have been just to pull my Dispel dice. And then he gets Guiding Light off on the Imperial Guard. I'm not thrilled about that, but there's worse spells out there, right? We go into combat, and Skaz and my opponent's general stalemate. We just kind of stand at each other. Butterfly kisses and limp wrist fighting for all. But Skaz isn't losing. He's not winning anymore, but he's 1-1. So win 1, draw 1, lost none, which is good because he'd probably break and get run down. But this is a much better fight than I thought it was going to be. This fight over here, though, is pretty big. I end up killing, 4, 5, 6, 7 infantry, and I think I take 3 wounds back. I win this combat, but they make their break checks, unfortunately. Oh, man. I should have got the good old boys into these guys much earlier. The Conquerors, something. I definitely overestimated them, and that's my fault. That's my fault completely. So we go to bottom of 6, and there's really nothing smart to do, so I have fun with it. I send the Scraplings into the Imperial Guard. I know, I could hear the collective groan. I know, but it was funny. We're sitting there, and there was a bunch of people watching. We're joking around, having a good time, and they're like, send the Scraplings in. It'll be funny. The guys on YouTube would love it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Charge! And everyone looked at me like, are you serious right now? I'm like, yeah, watch them kick your ass. So I sent the Scraplings in and they made it. They needed like an 8 or a 9 to make it too, and they did. I was thrilled. So yeah, the Scraplings are in the comment. Why not? They weren't going to do anything anyway. The Bombardier did rally last turn, and he comes over to shoot at the supporting unit, and other than that, everything else I have is dead or in combat. There's a better picture of me just having fun. How crazy is it going to be when the Scraplings just whoop ass? All 4 there during combat. During the magic phase, Skaz gets the salvo off and epically flaming farts and kills off 4 more of the supporting unit, and they pass their panic check. He does put a wound on the engine, and he kills a couple of the handgunners. Not that that's really going to change anything, but it just felt good to do. Since I'm throwing caution to the wind, I get enveloping embers off on the handgunner unit and murder them. There's 6 left after everything is done. Finally, at the perfect time, my dice have warmed up. Isn't that how it always goes, though? So yes, at least I might lose this game, but I'm going to make sure his victory party is as small as possible. And I tried so hard, the Bombardier that's left fires at the supporting unit of swordsmen, whatever the hell they are, and I kill all but 1. Just miss getting points, full points for the unit. Then we go into combat, and yeah, it's brutal. I end up losing 2 tribesmen. He does like 4 wounds. 4 or 5, something like that. I lose 2 Scraplings, I kill 2 Imperial Guard, and I kill 3 or 4, swordsmen. It's not enough to kill off the unit. It is enough for them to take a break check, and they pass both of them, which sucks, but at the same time, it was fun. And it's a possibility that if the Scraplings hadn't gone in, I would have broke the unit. So maybe that's my smartest move, but still a lot of fun. And then in combat over here, Skaz negotiates for their surrender. And the Empire general accepts it. They shake hands, and they made s'mores. It was nice. It was actually a very diplomatic ending to an otherwise very violent game. And yeah, so I won, right? That's a thing, diplomatic victory, right? Right? Nothing happens there. So there it is. There's the end of the game. As you can see, it was looking really good, then it was looking really bad, and then it was looking kind of but in the end, I think my opponent might have pulled it out. And well played. My opponent played really, really well the entire game, and I did not. And my opponent did not let up. He did not let his boot off my throat at all. And that's the way you got to play these games. I was very, very pleased. This was a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to getting into the recap. So right after a quick message, we'll get into the recap because this game is over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
So, like I said a few times now, I'm always on the lookout for great new models for everybody, getting them out there. And TMS, Tabletop Miniature Solutions, has put out some of the best ones yet, with this Kickstarter, with Vampire Covenant being the best so far. Check these guys out. There's a description in my link. They've got a Kickstarter going on right now until the 9th. It's an amazing opportunity to get your undead stuff. Spartan Undead Warrior. Come on, guys. Barrow Guard that are Spartan themed. It doesn't get cooler than that. Chicks will talk to you if you get these models. I'm almost sure of it. Check them out. I don't get anything for doing this. I'm literally just trying to get the word out about these models because I think it's a really good Kickstarter. And I think they're really cool models for a really good army. So check them out. Get them if you can. You're welcome. So as I'm pretty sure you've already put together, this was a defeat for Lord Tremendous. I got 2,737 out of him. He got 3,622 out of me for a difference of 885. I ended up losing Blackshade, the Good Old Boys, the Randos, Bow Wowzer, the Trappers, my Tusker Calf, Rufus, and the Hammers. Oh, it was a hard fight, and in the end, he just had more fight than me and won it fair. I was impressed. Skaz almost got the general. I thought that was hilarious. Like one more wound than I'd have gotten him. I don't think it would have been enough to make it so that I won, but it might have been enough to make it a draw. Either way, this works. I need to stop holding back. I don't know why I've started doing that, but I have, and it's a habit I'm going to need to break soon. It's starting to piss me off. But at least my opponents are, capitalizing on it. There is that. Poor Rufus. I think these reports have made him infamous because everybody likes to kill him. And the damn Hammer Brothers got way, way overeager in this one. And it was really cool to see them run max distance on a charge to run down an infantry unit. It was just really blunted by having him getting gunned down right afterwards. It made for a cool visual, though, I got to admit. My opponent's magic phase was amazing. I mean, he played the magic phase like Mozart played the piano. I think Mozart played the piano, so I'm going to go with that. Really, really well. It was devastating from turn 1 to turn 6. I wish mine was half as good. His shooting was on point. The man couldn't miss. I should have put more pressure on him, but by the time I realized it was going to be that good, it was way too late. My scrapplings killing the riders with dangerous terrain was hilarious. Oh, I mean, they paid for it with their lives, and that was not the intention, but I still thought it was great. And this was probably one of the strongest Empire of Sonstal armies I've ever faced. Really, really impressed. Would love to see it again. Love games like this where they're really tough, like right on the edge of your seat the whole time. It was really hard fought, even though it was mostly because I didn't fight. And Salazarov is an excellent opponent. He's really, really good. Thank you so much for coming into my town, taking time out of your day to play me in some games. That was really awesome. And kicking my teeth down my throat in my own home. That was outstanding. I will always welcome a rematch against you, buddy. That was an excellent game. Real quick, I want to say thank you to everybody that supports me financially through Patreon, PayPal, and other means. I have many generous donators that help me out, and I really do appreciate it, and a lot of them want to stay anonymous, and I have to respect that, but these are the individuals that allow me to thank them properly. Alex of the Vale Renegades, South Florida's Gamermancy team, Daniel Jolson, and Caillou Choi. Thank you guys very, very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate all my donators, and if you want to become one, check it out in the description. Not required, always appreciated. Thank you guys very much. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. Battle Report number 80 is officially in the history books, and what a game. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.